Yo, what it do, guys, and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video we're going to be taking a close look at a brand new sniper called Vadarya Prime. This is a sentient sniper, the first of its kind, and it doesn't have any non-prime variants. This came out with Caliban Prime access, which is where you can get it. So if you are playing today, you can go ahead and just get it in some relics and start cracking them open. Now, what is interesting about the Vadarya Prime is that it does go ahead and have a very unique passive. It says, struck enemies become lightning rods with a chance to attract bolts of chain lightning that can jump to nearby enemies. So let's go and have a little shoot with this weapon right now and show you what that actually looks like. So I'm going to go and just shoot one enemy here and see what happens. So you can see that enemy over there took a bolt of lightning. If I go to shoot this enemy again, that enemy took one. I shoot this enemy again, those three took them. So the way that basically works is on screen here is that there's going to be two different kind of layers of probability. The first layer is it's going to have a chance up to 3 lightning bolts going to hit other enemies, and it also is going to be random on which enemy it technically hits. But if you only had like one enemy or just 2 enemies, it's going to be those 2, if that makes sense, or that one. But if you have 20 enemies here, you're not going to really be able to control which one it's typically hitting on. But what is interesting is, and I think I speak for all of us, is what we would want to go ahead and do is we want more of that, right? Because I mean, first of all, it looks really, really cool. So we want to go and get that more often. So how can we get that more often? Now, if you understand the term secondary Enervate blasts, because this is a mechanic that has existed for, well, since secondary Enervate came out, then you're going to hopefully understand what I'm going to say when I say this passive blast. Because when it comes to a secondary Enervate, let's go and take a Vesper 77 here really quickly. I'm just going to show you what I have modded. So here I've just got blast on here, so a little bit of 60s and so forth, and I got a little bit of status chance just so I can go and proc it a bit more often. But secondary Enervate, the way that it works, it says on here it increases critical chance by 10%, right? So we know that. So whenever I go and shoot with this, I'm going to get additive critical chance on the enemy. Now, if I proc a blast proc here, I'll be 20%. If I don't proc a blast proc here, I'll only be 10%. So hopefully I don't proc, so I can go and show you. So I'm gonna go and shoot it once. We're gonna look into the top right. I'm gonna shoot, it's 10%. You see how blast detonates, but now I got 20%. But I didn't shoot a second time. So it says on here. Now blast acts as that kind of basically singular damage, which means it can build up Enervate pretty quickly. So I shoot once, it's 30%. I shoot 40, 50, 60, stop, 70, you get the idea? So this is a way that you can go ahead and basically like build up Enervate Arcane really, really quickly. And there's like amazing weapons that can go ahead and handle this at a really like insane rate, basically. But this is very important because I want you guys to understand like how blast is working here. So if you go and watch my top right here, and we're gonna look literally just at Enervate, watch how quick this cycles. Look at that. Get the idea? So that gives you like an idea as to how that can go ahead and work as well, and how Enervate can essentially be scaling off that, because right now it's on a 350% additive critical chance right now. Well, kind of the same gimmick as to what's going on here with a sniper. So let's go ahead and show you just really quickly something that I kind of like cooked up a little bit here. We'll go ahead and explain all of this. Let me go ahead and just do some shooting to start things off with. You do not need Dante for this. The weapon itself can go ahead and do this, but there's a reason why I'm taking Dante, which you'll kind of see at the minute, and I'll explain why this is happening as well. So what I'm going to go and do now is shoot this guy in the head. I'm going to shoot him in the head again, and maybe one more time, and I'm just going to stop. And now you can see what's going on. So the cycle of what is happening is the exact same thing that was similar to Enervate. Blast is acting like an on here. So it basically means like the sniper, when I shoot with the sniper, there's a chance to go ahead and get free, right? But then when blast detonates, there's also a chance to go ahead and get free, if that makes sense. So I'm shooting once, blast is then so forth, you get the idea. Now, what we want to go ahead and do with that, and the way that we want to go and get that chained over, let's go and have a little look at some builds really quickly. I'm going to go and talk about the Vadarya Prime, but I'm going to show you like 2 different builds that you can go ahead and do here, okay? Now, this first build really quickly, this is like my testing parameters. So I want to go and explain what I've got here. Now, for this build, I didn't want to absolutely delete them. I just want to go and have fun with it, okay? So let me explain about what we have here. The reason why I've got punch through on here, because it comes from this and this, is because like how I said, if I shoot one enemy, there's a chance to get 3 lightning procs. So if you really think about it, if I just put punch through on and I hit 4 enemies in one shot, then that's 4 lots of 3 different that's 4 lots of different probabilities to have its own chances of proccing up to 3 different bolts, if that makes sense. Get the idea? So punch through can actually work really, really well with this. Now, furthermore, I'm just going to take a little bit of damage because I still want it to do damage, but I don't want it to overkill because I want to generate more and more zaps, basically, is what I want to go and do. Now, we do know that we're going to be doing electric, and we also know that we're going to be doing blast because those are the two elements we're going to be taking here. So therefore, both of them apply multiplicatively to faction. So the faction applies multiplicatively to damage. Forgive me. I can put this stuff up on the screen if you want to go and see it. But do remember that faction mods, they apply once on here and then they apply again once on dot. So this will basically just increase the damage of the on here and the dot of what's going on with the explosion from blast and with the damage from electric. Now I can also go ahead and increase damage from electric and blast as well just by putting on status of damage, which is what this is going to be. Okay, so we're going to be chucking this on as well. So you can see that blast is in there and electric is in there, effectively almost basically making them double the damage, but it's 0.9, not 1. Okay, so that's basically what's going on with that. From there onwards, do keep in mind that I do want to be doing blast. Now this is where it gets a little bit more important. What I did for this particular build is I want blast status weighting to go as high as possible. So when I hover over my status chance here and we go and see blast at the bottom there, you see where it says 37.8. For those who don't know, blast as a whole here doesn't scale off mods that combine into blast. So I'm not actually increasing blast damage, like the proc of blast. I'm not increasing that. I'm increasing the damage efficacy and I'm increasing status weighting, but I'm not increasing the blast proc tick. But I don't need to increase that. I just want to make sure it does blast tick. Okay, I need the proc, not the damage from blast. So by me putting this in here, I'm not increasing it because that's not how it works. It doesn't scale off the mod's cold or heat, okay? But what I am doing is I am increasing that status weighting, which is they're gonna allow me to hopefully proc blast more often than proc and electric, because you see the weapon innately has electric in it. So just keep that in mind, all right? And I don't mind it having electric in it because it goes very well with a double dot setup, okay? And then for this one, I just went status chance. Okay, so again, just really quickly, this is more like I'm just testing grounds. I'm just having fun with it. But you can see how there's certain parameters here. Status chance, blast, punch through, like kind of the main parameters that I'm going for. Now, primary cracks up here says on weak point here, you can gain 300, well, sorry, it's 30%, but it goes up to 10 times. It's 300% status chance with 60% ammo efficiency. That 300% status chance adds an awful lot towards it as well, which is, again, absolutely fantastic. I'll be bringing some maths up on the screen here in a moment, so you can go and see how much status I've got from this alone. So that's what it looks like. Now, build number 2 over here, though, is when if you're actually looking to go ahead and do damage with it, this would probably be a little bit better and it's more enjoyable. Now, there are some other mods that you can go and chuck in here, things like Argon Scope and so forth if you really want to, since you're going to be going for that headshot kind of shot initial anyways. But for the most part, this one also just works as a very well generic, well-rounded hybrid base. So I've got most of the multiplicatives that I want here. The only thing is that my electric could scale more and better if I could go ahead and get electric related mods into the build, because electric does scale off electric ones. Besides from that though, I've got my faction, I've got my dip in, we're all good. I'm going to bring multi-shot into here so I got better on hit damage, and then I'm going to go ahead and just chuck some criticals in here instead is what I'm going to be doing. But otherwise, yes, those are like the 2 kind of things you can go and set up with. Again, a few other mods that can go to work here, but just go and take those for now. Now, as for a Warframe in particular, I would say that there's a couple of Warframes that you can go and use here. Now, you can go with any of these by all means, because all of them work. You can go with Caliban, you can go with Dante, you can go with Lavos, you can go with Rhino. You could potentially go with Vol. But the reason why I would say not to go with Vol or put things like Shock Trooper on this is because of the fact that Shock Trooper is going to mess with your status weighting. Okay, I need blast procs as much as possible, so therefore me scaling blast in any kind of way, shape or form is always going to be better. Sorry, it's very warm in the office today. So out of that list there, I ended up going with, I started off with Caliban because of Tal status procs, but Tal status procs have a status chance vulnerability up to 100%. And Dante also still does status chance vulnerability, but he can actually scale his further than what Caliban can, because Caliban can only get 10 stacks of Tau. Dante starts at 50%, so if I go ahead and show you over here on this one, he starts at 50% status vulnerability, but look how much I have on this one, 202%. So I can actually utilize Dante's paragrams, go ahead and get more and more status vulnerability, thus increasing more and more chance of getting more and more blast procs. And the more and more blast procs that I've got, the more and more we're going to go ahead and see with those lightning bolts and lightning strikes, okay? So if I go and hover over Dante really quickly here, this is the build that I've gone for. I don't need to explain it too much. The main parameters that you need to go and know is strength and essentially duration. Those are like the two main things. Range is somewhat a little bit finicky. It kind of depends on what you want. Why strength? Strength because at the end of the day, you can also go and use Dante to protect yourself. So things like overguard and overguard return and overguard capping from things like triumph and so forth, this is naturally going to be very well. But also with the page flight, again, strength is going to increase the status vulnerability, and that's basically what I want there for the strength. So forgive me. But what is interesting is then the duration is basically going to be purely these birds alone. 68.18 seconds I have now got on these paragrims flying around doing their own thing, which is a great amount of time, so I don't need to recast the ability an awful lot. That's why I've gone strength and duration. And like I said, range is kind of somewhat finicky. It just depends on how far you want your owls, your paragrims to fly away from you. So for me, I just went at 145 to keep it there, but that takes it to 43.5 meters. If you want more, chuck more in, okay? No problem with that. You go ahead and juggle what you want to go ahead and juggle. Do go and keep in mind that precision intensify works fantastic on this, because again, we're primarily only focusing the fourth ability. That's what I really want. So this is going to be really good. Preparations, go ahead and start things off. Prime flow equilibrium, just go ahead and look after my overall energy reserves and so forth. Now I do have the subsumable of fractured blast in here, which is actually from citrine, and again, that just only allows me to go ahead and spam my overguard and so things like my triumph and things like my my page flight a bit more often, so I don't, basically all my energy needs are sorted. Now I've kind of overkilled my energy here because I've got fractured blast, I've got equilibrium, and I have energize. Like, I've overkilled it. So my advice is, at this point, if you're going to go with like a Dante setup here, if you want more damage, consider Rhino's Roar. Again, keep in mind though, Rhino's Roar, it looks great when it kills, but also factor in the fact that you won't be getting that many lightning strikes, because if enemies die, then you won't be getting any more blast procs on an enemy that's already dead, right? So the more enemies that stay alive, the more lightning I can go ahead and generate. So I don't want to overkill it, but I also don't want to underkill it. I still want it to kill, but you know, I want to generate as many of these as I can. We're gonna have like a full rave party. Now ground power is fantastic because it does actually go ahead and proc within itself, because it's going to be cycling blast procs and electro procs quite often, so ground power is absolutely phenomenal for this. Now as for the arcanes, like how I did go and say, again, this can basically be overkill. You can essentially replace this for the Molt Augmented, which essentially is you gain ability strength on kill, and it stacks up to 250 times, giving you 60% ability strength. Now this works really well. Again, we do want strength for more status chance vulnerability, and for more just overall overguard for protection, so that we can go ahead and just chill, watch all of the lightning do all of the work. Okay, now if you don't want to go and run Molt Augmented, you can also go and run Molt Efficiency, because you're going to have the overguard to protect your shields, so your shields are basically always going to be active, thus increasing your ability duration per second up to a maximum of 36%. So this is also going to work really well. It's going to keep the paragrims out there longer if you don't want to cast them as often and you kind of just want to run and gun and do your own thing. All right, you can absolutely do that. Now down here we do have Arcane Camera Stamina, which is without a doubt definitely best in the slot for what we're doing here. We're going to be focusing purely on the paragrims for their utility. You will go and notice that I'm not using Summoner's Wrath, we'll get to that in a second, but purely on their utility, and their utility is going to do two things for me. Number one, they gain increased movement speed, which is actually just really good for them to go and get to the target, apply status vulnerability, swoop back around and get to another target. Fantastic. Number two, it gives me ability strength every single time they're essentially attacking an enemy, which again, how I said, ability strength works fantastically. Now, Summoner's Wrath is an aura mod that you can go ahead and use in here, but this is not really particularly like a heavy summoner build, so I don't really need this on there. Again, I'm not looking to overkill everything, I'm just looking to go and generate as many electric procs as I can and have some fun with it. But if you want to go and install it in, you can do, because it is thematic and it does go ahead and fit. Oh, there's lots going to take him. Now, as for the other stuff, focus goals, not really as important for what it's worth. I'm just using the Vadarya for the sling strength. It's the one that gives me the most amount of ability strength, so I'm going to be taking this, all right? Basically, switch out into my operator, sling into the ground a couple of times, switch back, and then go and cast my abilities, and I just go ahead and get 40% ability strength for 20 seconds. Whilst I also switch back towards my Warframe from my operator, I also get a bit of casting speed, which actually just works really well. Let's go and get my abilities off. If you don't have Vadarya, you can go and take Zen Rake right down here, Hardened Wellspring. This also gives you 20% ability strength for 20 seconds as well, being inside the I'm keeping that in, I'm not editing that out. That was weird. So you get the idea, okay? So that's what you can go and do with the focus skills. Now, as for the companions, I don't really have an awful lot to go ahead and say about the companions here, because again, I'm not really looking to overkill, and there's not an awful lot of them that can really enhance what I'm doing without it being like a contagious bond, which, as you can imagine, gets a little bit really silly because they can really significantly ramp up and build up. But if we go ahead and take a worm prime, what I do like about it, so if I go and run the calculated redirection, I can get lots of shields. More importantly, I'm over 1,200 shields, which means I can go and slot in the reinforced bonds, and it can go ahead and help my fire rate. Now, this sniper technically has a charge rate. Charge rate is also decreased by fire rate. Therefore, I can charge my sniper a lot quicker and get more shots off a lot quicker because of something like this. So this works really well in the background, just kind of doing its own thing. If you want to go and put any other companion in there, you absolutely can do. Don't you worry about it, all right? Don't you worry about it. But yeah, again, I'll just go ahead and do, like, I'll go and take this build here really quickly, and I'll go and shoot it, and then we'll go and get some gameplay up on the screen as well. Now, I will also go and say, because this is probably going to go ahead and come up at some point, I'm sure someone's going to go and mention it. Oh, this looks fine and dandy inside the simulacrum. Does it actually work inside Still Path? Yes, but not as well as you would like it to. So yes, this is an interesting gimmick. Will it go ahead and get nerfed? Will it go ahead and get changed? Maybe, but I don't know. The Enervate didn't get changed, and that to me also seems generally quite strong. So I don't see any reason why this has to get changed, but it could be like a crash scenario maybe. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the status chance vulnerability over there. I'm going to press the combo for that is 3 and then 2. So I've got that going, okay? So I'm going to go and send those owls out. Then I'm going to go and press 2 and 2 to go ahead and give myself triumph and so forth. As these guys go ahead and get hit, I'm going to go ahead and shoot in the head to go and build up my primary crux, and then I'm just going to leave it, and as you can go and see, it kind of just deletes them really quickly. And that's the damage builds, which again, as you can imagine, was very different than what I'm doing, but that was nowhere near as like therapeutic as the status build. You see what I mean? Like, I don't want to completely overkill it. I just want to have some fun, man, you know? Yeah, I'm always min-maxing stuff and trying to hit as hard as possible, but in this one here, I don't really want to do that. I just want to have some fun with it. I'm going to go and send these guys out again. I'm going to go and shoot this guy with the crux straight into the heads, and then I'm going to go ahead and just let it do its work. And as you can go see, it's just really fun. See, that is what I want. Okay, now if I was to take all my mods off and so forth and whatever, or if I didn't apply the status vulnerability here, you could end up generating even more, and it gets really, really silly. But yeah, inside the simulacrum, it looks amazing because everything's standing still. But I will go and get some footage up on the screen for you guys as of right now. I don't think there's anything else for me to go and say. And just really quickly before I get to it, you might go and ask, what about the Archon shards? Typically, I just got casting speeds and I have ability strength. There's not much, but this isn't designed for this build, all right? This is just my usual Dante kind of go-to stuff for him. But it also works on the build, so it's great. Okay, ability strength and casting speeds, good stuff. So let's go and get some gameplay up on the screen here, and let's go and show you what it actually looks like. So I did this in a couple of missions. Let's go ahead and get a bit more of the testing. Now, my advice is, if you want to go ahead and get this a little bit more consistently, it's going to kind of require you to essentially hold an area. Yeah, I know. So that means like you roaming around the map, it doesn't actually look as good roaming around the map. And it definitely, and I urge this one, I want to say this one as loud as possible, it really doesn't look good on just like 1 or 2 enemies. It just doesn't. The build up is so much slower, and it just doesn't really typically look fantastic. But if you can get a big, dense pack of mobs, if you're playing like a solo survival and you're looking for something that can kill, but you're also having quite a fair bit of fun with it because it's goofy and gimmicky and so forth, then consider this, all right? Do go into like a little kind of corner or something like that, or maybe like a defense mission. If you do a defense mission, make sure you got a way to protect the defense as well, because again, you're gonna wait for a lot of ramp up here, okay? But yeah, no, it is good. Like it's just fun, like, and that's the main thing's going to take away from this. But yes, it's not going to be like an absolutely nutty, insane build. I'm really hoping DE doesn't typically take this out and change it, because I don't see anything here that's broken. I just see something here that's fun and goofy. Like, oh my god, that looks awesome. But I could see with a particular amount of, I don't even know, I haven't tried Contagious on top of it, but I could see there could be some crashing situations here, and I don't know what it looks like if you have 4 players also doing the same thing. I don't know if it's like client-sided and everyone sees the exact same proc, or can it get like really, you know, invasive or whatever. I'm not too sure from like a visual aspect. But otherwise, for the most part, yeah, you can go and see what the gameplay's like. It's just silly, and I really like it. Yeah, it's definitely one of my more enjoyable weapons that I've played with lately. Anyways, I'm going to go bring you guys back over here, because I'm going to try and keep this around 20 minutes. There's not much else to go and say. But yeah, no, I hope you guys enjoy the weapon as well. It'll be interesting to go and see again what D's response to it is. I don't know if they knew about the blast scenario there, and again, keep in mind, blast Enervate has been in the game since Enervate's come out. They haven't changed that, and it felt like it was fine. So I don't know, it's the same thing here as well. Okay, anywho's, I'm enjoying it. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you did go and like the video, please go ahead and leave a like. I'm gonna stop rambling here. If you think someone else out there would go ahead and enjoy this, please go and share the video with a friend, and as always, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. But take it easy. I'll see you guys again in the next video. Bye everyone.